Welcome to the Profitable Speaking Podcast, where we help you build a profitable six-figure business from the stage. Here's your host, Mr. Web Marketing, Brad Hauck. Welcome to the Profitable Speaking Podcast, the show that helps professional speakers like you grow your businesses and increase your impact. In this episode, I'm going to explore the best practices and common pitfalls of selling from stage, whether it's a live event, a webinar, or a virtual presentation. I'll cover topics such as how to engage your audience, provide value, build trust and credibility, and ultimately persuade them to take action. So whether you're new to stage selling or a seasoned pro, join us as I explore how to do it better and how you can become a more effective stage seller. Many times when selling from stage, I winged it. I didn't really plan out the process or follow a formula, which is probably stupid, as there are tried and true formulas you can use. And they do work. You just need to adjust them a bit for your audience. E.g., what works in the USA might not work best with an Australian or Asian audience, in my case. One time I had a big gig coming up, but it was an unpaid speech with the opportunity to sell to the audience. I decided to plan out my speech to sell a $5,000 product. And while I hadn't sold this product on stage before, I had sold a lot of it in the past. So I laid it all out, I set up my slides, I practiced the whole speech and the process and got it all clear in my head so I knew exactly what I was going to be doing, but keeping it real and fluent and allowing me to adjust on the fly if I had to. Getting the timing right was important, as I don't like to be pushy, but I do want people to take action. On the day of the speech, I got up on stage and I went for it. I still felt like me, no hard sell. But also I knew that to really help the audience, they needed this course. And I truly believe that it helps people. I'd put in all my best actually works stuff into it. So I paced my way through my speech and then into the final sales process at the end. Everybody had learnt something from the speech, so no one seemed upset at me selling. When I finally got to the end, 20 people got up, went straight to the back of the room and bought. You could have knocked me down with a feather. I was so surprised. Sometimes my self-belief is lower than my ability to sell, I guess. It worked. I didn't feel like a used car salesman. Everybody was still happy after it, and lots of people came up to talk. I learned that selling from stage wasn't a bad thing. You're helping people, and that's why you speak in the first place. The sales are a natural response to you showing your expertise. People want to work with others who they can see know what they're doing. Never be afraid to sell, be it subtle or obvious. If you're really there to help your audience, they'll be able to tell and they'll thank you for it. Remember, when you're on stage, you might be making a presentation, but make no mistakes about it. You're doing a performance. You need to write, do, review, and perfect it, just like any play on any stage in the world. In this episode, we're not going to cover the full sell from stage framework, but I will cover that in another episode or maybe even a course. Today, we're going to look at the do's and don'ts that you need to include into your existing talk if you want to be more successful from selling from stage. So let's have a look at the do's. You need to start with a strong opening that captures the audience's attention and sets the tone for your presentation. Don't give them your life story to start your speech. Okay, this is the old way of doing things. People really don't care. There's time in there to talk about what you've achieved, but it's not at the start of a speech. Think about using a question or a quote that gets people thinking or delving into their minds a little bit rather than sitting there and being passive. And worst of all, don't talk about parking, the weather, or what a great conference it is. Really, it's so unprofessional, and it doesn't start your speech strong. Second thing, you need to build rapport with your audience by engaging them in questions and stories. You need to get them thinking throughout your speech. A passive audience is an audience that's going to fall asleep on you. Truthfully, especially if you get the time after lunch or after dinner. Lord help you if you are doing nothing that gets people moving, writing, or something, because when that food kicks in, they will fall asleep on you. Use stories because stories allow them to picture themselves in your shoes or in the shoes of the person you're talking about. This is particularly useful when you're using example stories. They might see themselves as that business owner or that person in that position. So start with a strong opening and build rapport with your audience. Number 3 is provide value by sharing useful information and insights that address your audience's pain points. You are there to help people do better, get better, and succeed. That's your reason for being there. There is no other reason. If you're there to get people down and make them feel bad about themselves, then it's time you left the stage, because you're not helping your audience. You need to build in learning into your speech so that people have something to take away. Don't just give a straight motivational speech unless you're a motivational speaker, and that's what you do. But even then, there still should be learning points in there. People have to get something out of your speaking. Otherwise, why sit in the room for 45 minutes or so and listen to you? And remember, when you're providing that value, we talk about the what, not the how. We talk about what they need to do, but not how to do it. Why do we do that? Because this is where we sell our expertise. We show people how to do it for money. Now, that might sound a little harsh, but that's the facts. People want to know what to do. So tell them what to do, but don't tell them how to do it. Let them come to you to find out more. Next, we need to use persuasive language and emotional appeals that create a sense of urgency and motivate your audience to actually take action. You don't want people to go away thinking about it, in inverted commas. You want them to take action right there. Realize if they walk away to think about it, they're never coming back. Unless they see you speak again, they'll probably never buy from you. Now, I know there's always exceptions to that rule, but realistically, if you haven't enabled those people to make a decision right there, then you haven't really done your job properly if you're trying to sell from stage. If you're selling a product or service from stage, you want them to realize they need to buy right now, or they need to make a contact to make an appointment to buy. So if you're selling a service, for example, you've got to sit down and talk with them, you need them to realize they've got to come up, talk to you, give them your card, and so they can make an appointment. 99% of people who don't feel the urgency to buy right today won't buy ever. Moving on, you clearly need to communicate the benefits of your products or services and explain how it solves the audience's problems. Remember, when you're starting to sell, people are interested in the benefits, not the features. They think they're interested in the features, but what they want to understand is how that feature helps them succeed. And one of the best ways you can do that is to demonstrate through results and examples. So you can talk about how, what they've got to do and then show an example of a client's results, etc. So make sure you clearly communicate the benefits, okay? Use testimonials and social proof to back up your claims and demonstrate the effectiveness of your product or services. Okay, as we talked about, using case studies, graphs, all sorts of things like that. Build strengths into your benefits list, okay? It strengthens what you've already said. And make sure you spread them across different business types or customize them for that audience. So if you've got a mixed audience, you might use an example from a trade, a profession, and a non-profit or a volunteer situation. Spread them across so you can cover a wider range of your audience. And if you don't have these, then you should go out and chase them from your clients, or make a list of your clients and write up a little case study about each one. Okay? Make a compelling offer that's easy to understand and includes a clear call to action. So you need to build and practice selling your offer. Okay? It's not just a case of putting it up and going, look, here we go, this is my deal. No, you've got to build up and then go, and this is how much it's going to cost you at the end. You need to practice that. It needs to be smooth, but not slick. In other words, it needs to flow nicely, but it shouldn't be like, if you don't buy today, you're an idiot. Okay? Like a car salesman makes you feel sometimes. You need it to be nice and smooth, that a bit like they talk about the slippery slope. It gets them interested and they just keep sliding down until they get to the point where they realize they really do need this thing and they're going to buy it. Make sure that your offer is all about them and their success. It's not about your product, it's about their success, or your service, it's their success. So you might think your product's the be-all and end-all, and if you try and sell it like it is the greatest course, for example, you won't sell. Okay, you'll get a few people, but you won't really sell. When you show people how it will make them successful, how each module helps them succeed, then you will sell. And lastly for this too, make it irresistible. Okay, make the offer a good one. Okay, if you want to charge a large amount, make sure you bonus up. Make sure you add in extra things. Little things like even having a 20-minute phone call with you privately. They can be massive helps in converting from stage. You need to practice your delivery and timing to ensure that smooth and engaging presentation. Sometimes I do a speech 5 to 10 times right through before going on stage. Okay, now if that's 45 minutes of time, that adds up. Get someone else to listen. If you can see them cringing, stop, make a note, and fix that problem afterwards, okay? If you've got no one around, get the dog in, because looking at the dog's eyes is always useful. Or if you've got a cat, if you can manage to keep a cat sitting still, then good luck to you. But I've heard of people practicing to teddy bears, quite frankly. You need some eyes to practice to. Make sure you have an obvious end to your speech after your sales. Don't be just left standing there going, thank you for listening today, okay? It needs to be a call to action and an ending that then makes people want to get up and talk to you or go to the back of the room and buy. Okay? So that's our do's. Quite a few of them, isn't there? But they all come together to help you sell. The don'ts. These ones are pretty obvious, and I'm pretty sure you're going to know these ones. So, first of all, don't make your presentation all about selling. Okay, yes, you're selling, but don't make it about selling. Focus on providing value and solving your audience's problems. You're there to help. If you show your expertise, demonstrate your results, people will buy. Secondly, don't use high-pressure sales techniques that can turn off your audience and damage your credibility. I reiterate, you're there to help. You're not there to sell them on something. When you help them, they'll buy. Australian audiences, which is the audience I know best, hate a hard sell. You'll get away with it sometimes, but most people in the room will tell everybody else about what you did. We don't like hard sells, okay? We like good sells. If you get up there and you do the big American hard sell, you're not going to see the results that you'll see in other parts of the world, even though you've seen all these courses online saying this is how you sell. It is not the most effective way. It needs to be adjusted, as I mentioned way earlier, to suit the audience. The question I ask about high-pressure sales techniques is, do you want to make short-term money or do you want to build a long-term business? You hard sell, eventually you're going to destroy all your audiences. If you sell properly and you build your sales presentation properly, you'll build a nice long-term business. Don't make false or exaggerated claims about your product or service. It should be pretty obvious, but I've seen too many people do it. Keep it real. Be honest. If it's going to take work, tell them, this will take work, but you can do it. You don't have to exaggerate if you word things correctly. If you word your presentation properly, you don't need to exaggerate. It'll be obvious from your case studies and your results and your graphs and all that sort of stuff. When you are wording things, sales copy and power words do help make things sound better. So look up power words online, see what power words are and see how you might be able to bring them into your presentation. They might even be on your slides as little hints to you which way to put things. Don't neglect to address any objections or concerns your audience might have about your offer when you're speaking. Most people won't ask you questions from the floor, okay? There's often not enough time for questions, and the questions you get are oddly very specific to someone's personal case. Go through and make a list of common questions you've had from clients regarding this product, okay? Look up online and see what other questions you might find, and show a list of those questions to a friend and see if they can pick up on any that you've missed or that spark interest from them and integrate those in your speech, okay? So rather than dealing with objections from the floor, build in the answers when you're going through your speech. Don't talk down to your audience or use jargon that may not understand. I have always avoided jargon. I hate it. I refuse to use language that makes it hard for anyone to understand. And this is a common thing. I go to these conferences and people are talking about PTOs and DWDs and all sorts of things, and I have no idea what they're talking about because my mind just does not work with acronyms really well. So I stay away from acronyms. and I stick to using real language, same as I would have used in the classroom when I used to be a classroom teacher. Break it down. Remember, most people have a reading age of around 12, and so most TV programs and all those sorts of things are aimed at that age. After that age, a lot of people don't pick up a book much more. So as their vocabulary expands a little bit over time, because they will learn new words, realistically, they're not reading much better than they did at 12. So when you're talking to them, that's the level your communication needs to be at. Okay? Don't rush through your presentation or go over your allotted time. This is a massive don't. Be professional. That's why you practice, to make sure you do deliver within the time frame. Have something prepared in case you run too fast. Okay, if you do run a little fast, have something like a little questionnaire or something you can do at the end. Know what to cut out, but still hit all your points if you're asked to fill a shorter time slot. And this sometimes happens when you get rude speakers before you who do not stay within their time slot. And believe me, they are being rude as far as I'm concerned. And most professionals will tell you the same thing. Stay within your time, okay? Or bear the wrath of everybody. Use a countdown timer on your screen or on your Logitech pointer. My pointer has a countdown timer just before I go on stage. I press it up in 5 minutes, or 5-minute lots, should I say. And I then have it set to buzz at 10 minutes before the end and 5 minutes before the end, so that I get a buzz in my hand. I've got to use a pointer, so I might as well use one that helps me speak better. Professional speakers don't go over time, ever. Okay? That's what the word professional means in this case. It means staying within your time, along with all the other aspects of it. Okay, last but not least, don't forget to follow up with your audience after the event to continue the conversation and nurture the relationship you've started. If you're at a conference, go and have a drink of orange juice with them afterwards in the conference hall. Chat, listen to their stories. Keep moving along and don't get stuck too long with one person, okay? Have an excuse ready, because you're always going to have some person that's going to want to monopolize your time. You need to go to the toilet, or you need to go and talk to the organizer about something or whatever, but just leave and then come back again. You don't need to go far, but just have an excuse ready, because there is people like that, okay? Make sure you stay around until you answered everyone. This is really important. There's going to be people who are going to take a little while to build up the strength to come and talk to you. Their personality demands that they want to talk to you, but they just can't do it easily. Stay for those people. They're really good people, and they're often the best clients because they really have had to take a big step to come and talk to you. So stay around until you've talked to everyone. And look, last but not least, I promise that this will be the most fun part. Hanging around with your audience afterwards. You learn so much. You hear some great stories. You get some great questions that you can write down for next time. And sometimes it leads to hundreds of thousands of dollars in sales after you've left, especially if you're doing services. And I can honestly tell you it has left that much money when I've come off stage at times. Selling from the stage can be a powerful way to connect with your audience, build relationships, and ultimately drive sales. However, it's important that being professional, not pushy, is key to a successful presentation. By focusing on providing value, addressing your audience's pain points, and using persuasive language and emotional appeals, you can create a compelling offer that motivates your audience to take action. It's also important to avoid high-pressure sales techniques, exaggerations, making false claims, as this can quickly erode your credibility and turn off your audience, okay? And you do not want that. By following the do's and don'ts that I've covered here today, you can build trust and establish yourself as a trusted expert in your field, which ultimately leads to greater success and growth for your business over the long term. If you enjoyed this podcast and found value in the information about the do's and don'ts of selling on stage, we would be over the moon if you hit that button to subscribe to our channel. And hey, why not spread the love? If you know another speaker who could benefit from this information, be sure to share this podcast with them. We're all about helping speakers grow their businesses and succeed. And with your help, we can reach even more people. So go ahead, hit that share button, and help us make a difference. I'll catch you in the next episode. Thanks for listening to the Profitable Speaking Podcast. If you've enjoyed today's podcast, please help a friend and share it with them. Until next time, we hope you have a fun and profitable week.